Greetings from Miami. This is David Dahlson here at Mayesh Wholesale. And we're going to take a look today at garden roses for this summer. We got quite a few new varieties and I'd like to show you some of them. We're going to do a little bit of history, a little bit of the legacy of garden roses, and a look to the future. So come on, let's take a look. Okay, so first up, we have a new, what I'm calling a garden style rose. It's quite big. It's a creamy white. It's quite large, has a lot of petals. The inside, it takes a little while to open as it's tightly held in the middle. But one of the advantages of this kind of rose is that it is wonderful for outdoor events because the petal structure is so strong, it will take quite a beating, even in sunshine. Quite a good rose. This is called Creamykiss. Very nice, quite large. We have here a very nice new rose. This is very new. This is called King's Cross. It varies a little from grower to grower in the tone. Some are a little lighter, but I'd say most are sort of this peachy color. As you can see, it's quite a pinky outside, but the inside is a bold peach, gold, sunset tones in there. This is very nice. It's called King's Cross. So look for that this summer. To go with that, we have this wonderful, I mean, look at this. This is literally sunrise in a vase. Really golden, sparkling yellow, cupped in sort of buttery yellow guard petals. Just to give you an idea, and this is quite important, this is the way it looks here. It looks quite a light yellow, but as you can see, it opens to a gold. Wonderful rose, Antonia, and there should be plenty of this for this summer if you have any sort of summery country weddings coming up. Look at that, gorgeous Antonia. And here, look at this. This is a dynamic garden rose, garden style rose, I should say. Wonderful flower. It's sort of somewhat like the old centifolias that had, well, there's 100 or more petals. But I think what I want to draw your attention to is the incredibly symmetrical pattern of the petal structure. It goes round and round, and a lot of little petals as you go towards the center. And this is quite dynamic visually because the light catches and bounces off all these different angles and gives you a very appealing and enticing rose. It really captures the eye, and wonderful. The symmetry is wonderful. It opens very nicely and cleanly. This one is called Peonikiss, and this is available now. Another thing about this rose is, David Austin early on had two roses. One was called Phoebe and one was called Miranda, but alas, they have gone away. But that color, this sort of lilac, lavendery pink color, has been hard to get, and this certainly fills that niche. So I really, if you have anything coming up in this sort of color scheme, I highly recommend this rose, Peonikiss. These kind of roses, what they call garden roses or garden style roses, they're really based on roses from the 19th century, what they call the cabbage roses, the bourbons, the damasks, very large, fluffy, full of petals, often quite informal, but all this sort of large, fluffy shape. But today I want to look at what I'm calling a new style of garden rose, something for also quite old, but something to make a change on what we think of as garden roses going forward. So I'd like to show you these. I'm going to clear off this table and I will present these new garden roses. Okay, I've got those cleared away, and now I'm going to show you what I'm calling like garden roses for the future, new style of garden rose. And I think it's in fashion with the trends of more sort of relaxed, easy compositions, of course, to make them look so natural is quite an art and quite a skill, but we have the components to help you do that. So as far as I know, there's only 3 actual garden roses in commercial production in South America. One of them, of course, is the fantastic Yves Piaget, of course, really good. There is one grower still growing Prince Jardiniere, which is in my mind, a classic garden rose, pale blush, opens beautifully, fabulous fragrance. And then there's this one. This is called Champagne. And sort of Mayesh has a little, sort of story running with this. Champagne is a garden rose created in 1960 by Robert Lindquist. He was working for a company called Howards of Hemet back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They had 400 hectares of just rose bushes, which they grew and shipped all over the United States. And they went out of business at the end of the 70s. But this was created by one of their nurserymen, Robert Lindquist. This is Champagne. I want to show it to you because a lot of people, when they see this rose, they just can't believe how small it is. I mean, it's tiny. It's almost the size of the joint in my thumb. Tiny rose. But when we started the business before imports in the 80s, Champagne was one of the roses that we bought and sold a lot of because it's an incredible rose, often overlooked because of the diminutive bud. But, like oak trees, they grow from a tiny acorn. Champagne, wonderful, wonderful rose. So let me show that to you. So most of us would be really happy with a rose like this. Beautiful shape, beautiful color. This is the Champagne. It's almost that peach fuzz tone that is the Pantone color of the year. Gorgeous rose. But this is only halfway developed. Let me show you this when it opens. Absolutely gorgeous. Who wouldn't want that? I mean, that is romance. That is the essence of romance. It reflexes completely to the corolla. I mean, look at that. It's so beautiful. Peachy pink, very pale, the very muted tones. Ideal for a wedding. And while most of our industry focuses on garbage like this, yes, it's big. Yes, the color's right, but it's just an obscene and crude and vulgar rose, and it never opens. And when you get this rose, side by side, it's visually taking up the same space. And who wouldn't rather have this? An incredible rose, Champagne. Look at that, gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorite roses. And the story here is, yes, so we were selling them in the 80s at Mayesh. And on one of my first trips to Ecuador, I met a wonderful person called Gino Descalzi. He just bought Jackson and Perkins' old farm where they were hoping to compete with breeding for the burgeoning market of cut roses. It didn't work out, so Gino took over the farm, and I happened to just visit him while he was getting ready to rip out all the roses, and he asked me my opinion of this rose, Champagne, and I told him, you must keep it. I know it's small, but it's just a fantastic rose. It's basically a superb flower. In any category, this would always come at the top of my list of flowers. Absolutely divine. So fortunately, Gino took my advice, and we've been buying Champagne and selling them to our customers for the last 25 years. There hasn't been a lot of supply. Many of you may not know of it. I highly recommend you to look into this rose, Champagne. It will open like this in about 2 or 3 days. Very reliable for wedding work. It has no thorns. The stems are thin and elegant but strong, so great for making bouquet work, and fantastic for using in arrangements. Champagne. Next we have a really, really great rose. As you can see, this rose also opens fully to the corolla. Again, a lot of us will be happy with that sort of rose. Very nice, attractive, a bit like a little like quicksand. But unlike quicksand, this opens fully to the corona. It has wonderful petal array, really nice, coming out at all angles. A beautiful rose, what I call the new garden rose, which looks a lot more like the natural roses you might see in a cottage garden along the side of a road in the country, and in many rose gardens around the world. Wonderful rose. Look at that, beautiful, wonderful in profile, very nice petal disposition, fantastic rose. This is called Sensei, like the Japanese master, Sensei, and I've got to tell you, great rose. And another excellent thing about this rose is, even in this open state, it will maintain for several more days, if not 5, from this stage. Very strong, very hardy, beautiful iridescence on the petals. Marvelous rose, Sensei, or if you want to put it the way I would say it, sensational. Beautiful, highly recommended. And then we come to this one in a similar vein. You may have noticed all 3 of these have very muted colors. So, you could put tonally, these are nice together, or this would be great with this one. You can mix them in. Very nice, because the tonality is very similar. This is called Silver Sand. Fantastic. And this rose, perhaps more than the other two, has these fabulous tresses of petals, like multi-layered, like great roses out of the 40s and 30s and 40s. Really wonderful. Opens to the corona. This one takes a little longer to open, but also has great vase life. This beautiful, beautiful rose. Gray, lavender, lilac tones, but really it's almost a neutral platinum gray color. But to me, the thing that's really striking are the tresses of petals. It goes like a schooner at full mast with all the sails ablazing. Wonderful. And again, these has different angles that catch the light that really are alluring to the eye and bring the spectator in to have a look. So look at these wonderful, what I'm calling the new style garden roses. We can get away from the old, sort of bourbon blooms, the English roses, so on and so forth. This is a different look, and I feel a little more natural, simple, and yet they tell an incredibly romantic story. So we have Champagne, Silver Sands, and Sensei. So look out for these, ask your sales associate about them. And I'm going to show you one more new product we have coming for this summer. I think also fantastic for wedding work. Again, I'll clear these off, and I'll show you the last group of roses, garden roses for this summer. Okay, so my last presentation are these incredible, darling, super cute, what I'm calling micro spray roses. Really amazing. Look at these sprays. Each one of these is a little sort of miniature garden rose, fully double in the middle. These probably come very old, descended from Rosa chinensis, one of the main strengths in breeding ever since they were crossed with damask roses in the 19th century. Look at these amazing, a form of Rosa chinensis, but absolutely beautiful, darling. I mean, you can imagine these like in a flower crown for the flower girl. And really what I find amazing about these is, you know, today in when you're designing, a sense of scale is so important. And if you have these perhaps with some regular sprays and some roses, you get a tremendous breadth of scale that increases the size of your other flowers, because these are so small and diminutive, but they are so darling, long-lasting, hardy. I think they do quite well in a flower as a crown, but really I see these more as fantastic little accents in wedding work. Currently we have them in this color. We'll be having these a little later on in the spring, and in the summer we hope to have the first pure white ones. So right now we sort of have a dark pink to medium pink and a blush to almost white, but not quite white. So we're going to call these blush, and we're calling these pink. So please look out for these. Absolutely, I mean, I absolutely love these. And along with all the other roses I show you, they will be available this spring and summer for your wedding work, event work, for installations in houses and hotels and what have you. So thank you so much for watching this presentation of what's new in garden roses, and hope to see you again soon.